Over on the right, the burn player, Jory White. Like I said before, defending Milwaukee Open champion. Mountains both times.
Yep, for this matchup, his most important cards are his 1 Maine, 1 Sideboard Grim Lavamancer, and those 4 main deck Searing Blaze. He needs to be able to deal with Maine's creatures so he can connect with his Goblin Guides and his Wild Nacatls.
Game 1's going to be an interesting affair. Andrew Maine is on a 5-card hand, and Jory White is on a 6-card hand, so it'll be a low-resource fight. Jory starts out on a Wooded Foothills, passes Verdant Catacombs for Maine. And I suppose that happens with mulligans, is that you see players not have any action on turn 1.
Right. Maine not having the birds is huge. Of course, Jory's deck is pretty well equipped to deal with the Birds of Paradise as it is.
Jory will go to 18 for Stomping Ground. He wants that in play untapped, so he can make a 2-drop here. You see he actually has a Wild Nacatl in hand, but he's going to... Yeah, and he's going to go ahead and just play that on turn 2. It looks like that was his draw for the turn. He also had the option to play Eidolon of the Great Revel, but went for the 3/3 cat.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it was the Nacatl that he picked up or the second land for this turn, actually, and he wasn't sure what he wanted to fetch just yet.
Okay.
Either way, a bit of an awkward start making your 1-drop on turn 2, though against the mulligan to 5 on Maine's side, still not in bad position.
Andrew will go ahead and crack that Verdant Catacombs to find a Temple Garden. This is all on Jory's end step. Now these creatures from the burn deck have a tendency to have a short lifespan when it comes to damage.
Right. Maine's looking for something like Wallivritz on this turn to get in the way to make a good block on the Nacatl.
He will go ahead and cast Malira, Sylvok Outcast on turn 2. Just a 2/2 right now.
Yeah, this one, as soon as this Wooded Foothills goes and finds a land with a type Plains, this Nacatl will be able to attack right past that one.
Now, I like the sequencing here by Jory. He did not crack that fetch land end step, and that's because he had no third land but had a Searing Blaze in hand.
Oh yeah, we want to make sure that that land enters the battlefield this turn so we can get that card fully kicked, as it were.
Yeah, to get the landfall trigger. So Jory will, on his main phase, just sacrifice Wooded Foothills to find Sacred Foundry. He puts it into play untapped and goes to 15.
Yep, Searing Blaze, of course, only deals 1 damage without landfall. With the landfall, it does a full 3.
Moves the red burn spell to the front of his hand, and he'll cast it. 3 damage to the Outcast, 3 damage to Andrew. We'll put him to 16 and clear the way for an attack. While Nacatl will attack, and now it is a 3/3 thanks to Sacred Foundry. Maine will go to 13 as we enter turn 3 here for Andrew.
I mentioned that Searing Blaze is about the best card for Jory in this matchup. Pressure's on Maine to find his best card. Kitchen Finks doesn't show up for turn 3.
No, Andrew's turn 3 play was to play an Overgrown Tomb tapped and pass back, and now here's an opening for Jory White. Drew Monastery Swiftspear, he'll cast that. The 1/2 haste prowess, and the cat will swing in for 4 damage. No plays on Andrew's side, he'll go down to 9. And second main will be another Wild Nacatl for Jory White. He's looking to represent lethal next turn.
Yep, and Jory has missed a couple of land drops. Still plenty of gas in the tank. With Andrew on 9, it will not be difficult to finish this game.
Yeah, a 4th land for Andrew and just passes the turn. We go over to White. I was going to say he has to worry about the card Collected Company here. If you look at White's hand, he's got Lava Spike, Lightning Bolt, and Boros Charm in hand. That's 10 points of burn. Andrew's at 9.
Yeah, we're a land shy of being able to just cast that, but I like casting just some spells pre-combat, make it so all of our creatures attack for 3. Make sure that Swift Spear gets its prowess triggers with the sorcery speed spell anyway.
So he will Lava Spike. Andrew's going to go to 6. Monastery Swift Spear becomes a 2/3. Now the team will attack. 2/3/3 cats and a 2/3 monk. He's going to reconsider on the attack for a second, though.
He's thinking about the implications of Collected Company. I think he's far enough ahead to safely make this attack with the team.
Yeah, Horizon Canopy deals a damage to Andrew as he casts Collected Company, so he'll go to 5 here. Top 6 cards, we see Malira, 2 copies of Eternal Witness, Birds of Paradise.
These ones will not do it.
Yeah, he needed maybe multiple Kitchen Finks, you were thinking?
Right, Kitchen Finks, 2 Kitchen Finks. Jory still has a Lightning Bolt that can be cast on this turn. 2 blockers on their own only removes 2 of these creatures from combat. 1 will connect for 3. The Lightning Bolt will wrap this game up. Needed to be creatures that gained life. Specifically, Kitchen Finks was what we were looking for. So Andrew's just kind of running the permutations. You know, what if Jory doesn't have Lightning Bolt? He knows that he can't beat that burn spell on this turn anyway. So he's just kind of wondering, what can I do on this turn if I survive that would put me in a winning position or a better position next turn?
2 Eternal Witnesses will come into play. They'll enter the battlefield. They cannot target Collected Company just yet, as the spell is still resolving. So he'll... Or no, they can, right? Yeah, they can hit Collected Company here?
Right, when they're on the battlefield, the spell has fully resolved.
Okay, so he'll get back that Verdant Catacombs and the copy of Collected Company he used.
Now, Andrew just saying, show me the bolt. Do we have to go to game 2?
Yeah, he'll block the 2 cats. Jory says, yeah, I do have the Lightning Bolt. So that will be game 1 for the Burn player. Jory White defending his title. He'll go ahead and take game 1 over Andrew Maine.
And that's exactly how Jory has to do it. Those turn 4 wins, those are the games that he's going to win. Aided a bit by Maine mulliganing down to 5.
Yeah, I mean, Maine did not have a turn 1 Birds of Paradise. He did not have a turn 2 Wall of Roots. He did not have a turn 3 Kitchen Finks. Those are the, kind of public enemies 1, 2, and 3 in the matchup, and none of them showed up.
Yep, and Jory, of course, had that Searing Blaze. That was a really big swing.
All right, we're going to go ahead and look quickly at the sideboards here. We'll start over with Andrew Maine. 3 Repticates, 2 Path to Exile. We know he has those removal spells. We see the rest of the sideboard. Which cards would you like him to board in?
Like a Replicate, Path to Exile, just these cheap interactive spells. Keep those creatures off the battlefield so that we don't get run over in the early game. Voice of Resurgence blocks well in this matchup. It replaces itself. Scavenging Ooze can gain some life. So I like seeing all of those cards come in.
All right, on Jory White's side, he's got 2 Grafdigger's Cages, which we know is good against search effects. A Grim Lavamancer that you mentioned that is good in the matchup. Do we like anything else?
The Grim Lavamancer is the slam dunk. That one comes in for sure. The Cages are likely to come in. I'm not in love with them, but if we have them in our deck, bring in at least 1 copy. There's a consideration for the Skullcrack to turn off the Kitchen Finks life gain for a turn. I wouldn't be surprised to see those come in as well.
Yeah, those are in the board because he's playing Winnacattles in the main. So today is May 1st, which means we've entered a new month here, and means we're only 3 weeks away from Grand Prix Charlotte. This is another Grand Prix, a part of Modern Weekend hosted by Star City Games. I'd like to take a second to tell you about all the things we have coming up at that event.
On May 20th through the 22nd, make plans to be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history when StarCityGames.com proudly presents Grand Prix Charlotte. Register for the Modern Format main event to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and receive an exclusive playmat featuring Jace as he pores over the pages of Tomio's journal. Select the 3-day Infinite Challenge package to compete in all challenge events for one low price, while also walking away with the exclusive Jace playmat. Add a premium rewards package and take home a collectible pin, deck box, 80-count pack of sleeves, and playmat, all featuring the iconic Noble Hierarch. Play in select side events for even more chances to win additional Noble Hierarch pins, deck boxes, sleeves, and playmats all weekend long. And don't forget to come say hello to Grand Prix Charlotte's many special guests, including cosplayer Christine Sprankle and an artist alley full of fan favorites, headlined by guest of honor Rob Alexander. Be part of Modern Weekend and Magic the Gathering history. Register for Grand Prix Charlotte today.
Just a mere 3 weeks away, Grand Prix Charlotte. It's going to be in the Modern Format here.
We'll get to see a whole bunch of sweet decks from this weekend that you could potentially play. Maybe you're locked in on your Modern deck if you're an Infect aficionado, a Burn player. Of course, we see Burn doing very well in this tournament, of course, paired against Abzan Company. These are 2 decks that players are pretty loyal to, and with good reason.
One of the things that's interesting to me is how little affinity we've been seeing. In the 140 decks to make it into day 2 here, only 2 copies of affinity.
Yeah, that's something you don't often see in Modern.
It's less than 2% of the field. That's got to be a first for the deck. Since Modern started Affinity, I've always felt like it's been at least 5%.
Yeah, and these bannings and unbannings, on the surface, they don't seem to do anything to the efficacy of playing Affinity. You can win before a vision comes off suspend.
Yeah, there was talk in the last banning among the community of, is it time to ban Mox Opal? Does Affinity's really good? Should we ban it? I'm going to say no. Right now, no.
At this stage, that notion sounds pretty silly.
And I want to just give credit where it's due. I like how reserved R&D can be with bannings in that situation. You know, to not immediately ban something like Mox Opal last time and say, hey, you know, we'll see how good Affinity is.
Certainly, and especially with the removal of the Modern Pro Tour, they'll be able to be more lenient on that ban list. There's much less pressure. We don't have to do things like knee-jerk ban Mox Opal. So really good management of the ban list at this stage. I believe it's in the best shape that it's ever been for the format.
Of course, Affinity has that attribute that the longer it does poorly, the more people cut Stony Silences, and then suddenly it comes back and wins an event.
Yeah, that old dredge element to it.
Yeah. All right, game 2, both players are on full strength this time. It's 7-on-7. Andrew on the play starts out with a tapped Temple Garden as we go over to Jory White. Still no Birds of Paradise on Maine's side. White is going to be a Stomping Ground into play untapped. He will go to 18 life and play Wild Nacatl to start the game again. Yeah. Back to Maine, he's got some good 2-drops.
Jory's turn 1 was more favorable relative to the power level of the deck, though the play favors Maine heavily here. If this was reversed, that Nacatl will be a lot more threatening.
See a Windswept Heath. This time Maine's being very cautious about his life total here. See getting a basic land with his Windswept Heath. His first play was Temple Garden tapped. He's still at a very healthy 19. He's going to go for one of his 2-drops. He has both Anafenza Kintree Spirit and Voice of Resurgence in hand. Yeah,
even though he's the Kitchen Finks deck, that extra life gain will do a lot more if he's not just making up damage that he did to himself and is actually going towards a higher than 20-point life total.
You might ask, why is Jory's deck called Burn if we see Wild Nacatl in play? You know, isn't that a zoo deck? Well, the difference here has to do with the number of burn spells.
Right. You know, if you own 1 cat, your house is not a zoo. There's a lot of burn spells. There's only 17 creatures in the deck. Zoo tends to be closer to the 20-plus threshold. Eidolon of the Great Revel, also not really a zoo creature. That's a burn creature.
Lava Spike.
Right.
You don't really see burn play that.
Yeah, you'd be seeing Path to Exile in the deck if this were a zoo, at least in some capacity. None of those in the main deck here. Also none in the sideboard of this particular build.
Turn 2, Andrew actually went on Anafenza Kintree Spirit, deciding to keep the Voice of Resurgence in his hand. This is the weaker 2-drop, but if it stays alive, it pays bigger dividends.
Yeah, on the following turn, those bolster triggers will start adding up. It makes it so that you have to answer the Anafenza to really get through a potential Kitchen Finks on the following turn.
Right. I suppose if Andrew had played Voice of Resurgence, do you think it's unlikely he would have blocked anyway? Like neither 2-drop was blocking?
Yeah, the Voice of Resurgence block is not great at this stage in the game.
Okay, so might as well play the lesser creature first then.
Right.
Jory will go ahead and fetch up a Sacred Foundry so that the Wild Nacatl is a 3/3. And for the second game in a row, he has that Nacatl, and he's Searing Blazes away Andrew Maine's 2-drop. So Maine takes 3 off the Blaze, takes 3 off the Nacatl, goes down to 13.
Yep, Jory has drawn his best card. Now let's see if White has the Kitchen Finks for this game.
The scary part is that Jory's best card is Searing Blaze, and Andrew can win through that. Andrew's best card is Kitchen Finks, and Jory's has trouble with it. Andrew's turn 3 play was Voice of Resurgence, but no land drop to go with it.
That's a big development for 2 reasons. Not only is there no third land, there's still no black source and no ability to cast a Kitchen Finks even if one is drawn.
Yeah.
Jory's got to smell blood in the water here.
Yeah, he's going to go right for it.
Yeah, so presumably there's no reason to really go for a removal spell in the Voice of Resurgence just yet. It's only in chump blocking territory. So if Jory just has more creatures to commit, that's probably what the plan is for this turn. There's a lot of pressure on Maine to find that third land and to do something better than just have a 2/2 on the following turn.
So Jory White will fetch up a basic mountain this time. It is his turn 3. Now, you mentioned that smelling blood. Here comes Monastery Swift Spear. And oh, if it's another Searing Blaze, and it is.
Woof.
Ugh, another Searing Blaze. It's his best card, and he has it in doubles. 3 damage to the Voice of Resurgence, 3 damage to Andrew. Andrew's at 10. Wild Nacatl attacks as a 3/3. Monastery Swift Spear attacks as a 2/3. And Andrew has a 1/1 elemental blocker.
Yeah, you can have your 1/1. That's fine. Would you like to chump block one of my creatures here? Maine chooses not to chump block just yet, hoping to be able to generate 2 creatures this turn and make a better block.
Spellskite, the 0/4 in play for Andrew. But Andrew's down to 5 right now, as there's an elemental blocker. It's unclear. I mean, Spellskite, Ugh, this is really close. Lava Spike. Yeah, redirect that one. Boros Charm. Redirect that one. Game, match, Jory White.
Now, bear in mind, you can activate Spellskite to redirect these spells.
Don't do it.
Because that's just how Spellskite activates, but that's not how Spellskite works. You won't you will just pay 2 life and then just die.
Right, so what you're saying is a Spellskite can target any spell.
Right.
But it doesn't do anything unless it won't do anything against those.
It